Okay, so we just finished a full intensive session, and I just wanted to ask you a few questions to help other people who are considering maybe what I do and considering what this Neuro Auto-Associative programming model is and how it helps people. And so I just decided to turn the camera on you and let you share a little bit. So my first question is, what were you struggling with before you came in, and how is it affecting your life?
I was struggling with anger, struggling with frustration, and not feeling whole about myself, and putting that anger and that frustration on others. So in talking through this today, what I've realized is that there's a better way, and the principles that you've brought out today have helped me see a being who I need to be, regardless of others, and how my expectations on that I've put on others has made it so that I can't be the person that I want to be, and that's a loving husband, a caring father that provides an environment where love can be felt, and the expectations that I put on others has made it so that it's been frustration. That frustration because people wouldn't do because I had expectations, and so what I'm feeling is that by the things that we've talked about is that it's helped me not put that expectation, and it's made me feel more open and free about being who I want to be. I don't know if
yeah.
And one of the things that you talked about today that really set me was what pain is. I've always looked at pain as something that is bad, is negative. But your definition of pain was it's a message that we need to change. And that changing and that perception of and I'm babbling because I'm in front of a camera.
It's okay.
Of that definition of perfection. What I've lived in a society, an environment where perfection, is something obtainable, but yet it doesn't seem obtainable. But when you said that perfection is consistently improving itself or myself, that makes sense. In that if all that I need to do is to continually to improve myself, to change my mind in thinking in a more creative way, that makes all the sense. And the things that you've brought, Lamont, to my understanding make sense.
Hmm.
From the first time that I heard you on with Jared, things clicked.
Mm-hmm.
I had some doubts about today and that, but being here and understanding more, it's opened up a whole different way of thinking for me.
Mm-hmm.
I still have some doubts. I think with change and with anything that there's still, God, is it gonna work?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
But I have an understanding now that there's a different way of looking at things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important. For me, and I think for others that would want to change.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, that's good.
I'm
yeah.
blabbering.
No, you're fine. You're good. And you mentioned earlier that a lot of what we went over today was stuff that you kind of already knew. Like you'd done lots of things to learn. And so, and what did you say about the difference between what our session was and what you'd experienced in the past?
It rings true. From in the past, the way that you have organized this, all the pieces fit together. I've heard some of this stuff before, you know. I don't really know where I heard it, but some of these things I've heard it before. But you've made it so that they all connect, and it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it understandable, and that you know that change can occur,
mm-hmm.
and that change is good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it goes back to that belief on what perfection is. You know, is that if we have the understanding that we're here to consistently improve,
mm-hmm.
and consistently do better than what we have been doing in no matter what aspect of our life, that
mm-hmm.
is what matters the most.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the struggles that you had before that you feel like that this will change for you?
My hope is that I can get rid of the anger, the frustration. In fact, my anticipation now is that the things that made me have anger, that made me feel frustrated, that made me, and all those interconnected, and because of that I'd get depressed. There is no hope, no change.
Mm-hmm.
So now, with this understanding, there is change.
Mm-hmm.
There is hope. You know, even in the back of my mind, I'm still
struggling with perfection.
Still struggling with that perfection, letting go of my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and really understanding and believing that there's opportunity. That's of all these things, looking at things as opportunity is it creates freedom.
Mm-hmm.
It creates hope.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because I've been so long of not having hope, of just coasting, of just surviving, that still, what am I trying to say? That's what I want to have the greatest, hope in, and that of looking at things as opportunities. Is looking at things as opportunities. I don't know.
Yeah, that's good. So if you were to say something to someone who had heard about what I do and was maybe considering or thinking about coming, and they were struggling with some of these things with depression or anxiety and maybe even suicidal ideations, what would you say to them?
Come. Do it. I had doubts, but yet I when I first heard you, I felt like what you were saying, it rang true. That's why I came, even though I had some doubts. I would say to them to try it, to look at it and be able to apply the principles that you're teaching, and at least listen to them. But even in that first session that we had, things clicked for me. I don't know if that, I'm trying not to put expectations on people, but I think it'd be very worth it to come in and at least meet with you and listen to what these principles are.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. I know this is kind of a strange question, and I'm not trying to get any more money out of you. But let me ask you, if I had a button I could push right now that would erase this day from your memory, how much would you pay for me to not push that button?
You got me there. I don't think you can put, as of right now, I don't think you can put any money on it. I don't want to lose this understanding. Even though my hope, my understanding is moving up, there's still a part of me that wants to go in that confined state, because I think it's familiar. It's been a pattern that I've been in. And so mostly what I'm excited is I want to do these things. I want to do these things, and I want to see the changes occur. But I think that's putting an expectation on it.
And what
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. And so, what things do you feel that you would not, what do you feel will change permanently in your brain as you move forward? What could you not give up now that you know?
That's within my control.
That it is within your control.
That it is within my control, and that my feelings aren't dependent upon others, either in how people react to me or reacting to me or telling me of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
That what's come about is I can choose this, and so far I feel that by choosing that, it's going to open up more opportunity for me to be and to have joy and happiness and be able to create whatever I do want in my life. Whether it's in work, family, it doesn't matter.
And what are some of the things that you think are potential now that you can experience that you didn't have a lot of hope around before?
Strong relationship with my wife. Stronger relationships with my children, with her children. I even think that this will help in my relationship with co-workers or just with anybody that I come in contact with. Is those relationships.
And what will you do with your focus now?
Focus on those things that matter. You know, those things that matter. You know, of just being that person that I need to be. Being that father, being that husband, and being able to apply these, you know, and focus on staying on the free state instead of the confined state, and focusing on staying on that. Because it makes sense. It rings true. It rings true to me of where I've heard it, or you know, or if it's just a part of me of doing those things.
Yeah, and where were you mostly focused before? On expectations. I was focused on how I felt, you know, feeling alone, isolated, but in reality that's what I was wanting. You know, that's what I was wanting, because I wasn't getting what I really truly wanted. And so I was focused on anger, I was focused on frustration, you know, focused on, you know, there's no hope or no ability, that there is no change. I'm just thinking of stuff that comes to me. I'm trying to think of what someone would like to hear.
Do you feel like this intensive session was too long?
No.
How come?
It answered my questions. I think it was well worth the time. I think it's well worth the time. And I don't think it's too long. No, I don't.
And do you think if we were to keep going even deeper on some of these principles, and maybe some of the new beliefs that you want to develop even more, do you think you would be willing to take even more time to do that?
In another session, yes. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. I think what has been presented is enough. I think any more in-depth I'm almost to the, I'm almost, okay, I'm trying to grasp this still, and I think, I think that if I were to go out and put this to the test, and apply it, and without having expectations, but attempt to do these things, and look at all possibilities now of change, and change in the way that I think, and attempt to do things differently, and then come back at a time and maybe go over these again, and maybe that will reinforce something that I may have forgotten about.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What is the first thing you want to do?
Apply it, but applying it starts now.
Yeah.
You don't have to go out, I'm going to wait till Monday to start applying these things. You can apply it now. I can apply it now. And that's what I'm doing is, I'm setting up anticipation of, I'm going home, I'm not going to have an expectation, if this or this happens, I'm not going to I'm going to be calm, I'm going to be relaxed, I'm going to be loving, I'm going to be understanding, and I'm going to be concerned about how others are feeling and not myself.
Wow.
That's what I'm getting from this. And that gives me hope. And that helps me be who I think that I need to be.
Some people, after they finish a session like this, they feel like the world is almost a different place than what they had thought for a long time. And everybody's a little different. How would you describe how you feel about your perspective of your experience and what's changed?
My perspective has changed. I see areas where, yes, I can see this change. There's still areas within me that
need some processing.
Yes. I need to attempt to do the change. And that's where I need to be.
And your level of confidence that the change will happen is on a scale of 1 to 10.
Right now? On those things I'm most certain about, 10, 9, 10.
Wow.
Those things that I'm still teetering on, I know that change can happen. 6, 7. 6, 7. It's giving me hope.
And what were they before you came in?
Probably both significantly under 5.
Great.
But when I first heard you and something rang true, I knew that I needed to be here. Just because it rang true. Even though, I questioned and stuff, I still knew that I needed to come and to go through this.
Great. Yeah.